Right. Turn it down a little bit, please. Thank you.
Oh yeah, it's the logo.
Yeah, it's the logo, yeah.
That's quite an intense ending, so we've got to come down a bit now. I've seen the film 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, it's still really exciting. I just wanted to start by asking, do you enjoy watching the film on the big screen?
I think this is my 100th time,
Yeah.
even more. But every time I get very emotional because, as you saw, it wasn't easy to just go day by day where you have a crew of 100 people who have never done action movie before, and you're trying to just keep it together so you don't kind of lose your mind trying to in a way fake it till you make it, because I hadn't directed before. This was my very first time, so in that sense it was a very emotional journey. Yeah.
And you didn't have to fake any of the outtakes at the end. You say fake it to make it.
Hang on, I'm just going to move us.
It looked very
I'm
intense.
just going to move us over a little bit
Yeah,
so
sure,
that we're not on the slide. It's really bright.
Oh, now it's better.
There we go. And we'll just get the lights turned up here a little bit, and we'll be fine. That's a bit better. Thanks. Just turn up the lights in here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, guys. There we go.
Oh, that's
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, where were we?
So yeah, emotional journey, and yeah, every time I watch it, something like pops out that didn't happen the last 100 times. So it's amazing just to see it for myself. It's just, the journey was just amazing.
And was there something you didn't do on the film? Because it seemed like you were doing something in all aspects.
Well, yeah, and it's a very the story goes like this. When I planned to go to Iran and do this film, that was back in 2011, and I wasn't supposed to direct it, near produce it, or write it, or any of that. I was supposed to just act in it because I just graduated from Stella Adler Acting School in Los Angeles, and I was like, if nobody's giving me a role, then let make myself a role, what I would like to play, and that was the role I really wanted to play. But then as year went by, I realized it's not easy to put the crew together or find people that have similar vision. So slowly but surely, then suddenly I'm producing it and I'm writing it, and I was always like, I'll help a little now, but at the end I was the only one who was doing that. So yeah.
Fascinating, because we know you first as a producer from Reload, so
Yeah.
It was incredible to get a short that you produced, and then last year we actually had this as one of our feature submissions.
Absolutely, yeah. So going from short film to feature film is a very big transition, especially if you decide to go to some place that they haven't done this type of films before. So you're of course gonna face a lot of challenges. And I would say like 10 years ago I was very naive, but this film, although for a lot of people it's just a film, but for me it was how would I say it? It kind of grew me as a human being, if it makes sense. It made me a lot deeper to understand people and what they need, what I need, how to communicate. Because also I must say I love small theaters like this, because you can say stuff that you normally cannot do in big festivals or big screening. So our budget was about like $300,000, which means that you cannot make an international 2-country location with like a foreign, like a Western crew and all that. So I learned throughout this journey how to communicate with people in order to get those fire trucks, in order to get the SWAT team there, and all of that. So I must say the film very much improved my communication skills with people, and as long as I knew what they want, what is their passion, I could always get what I want. So that was one of the ways I could get all those stuff in the film.
So I think we'll talk a bit more about the film as we move on, but I wanted to talk more about your younger days actually, because with this film it's like you're doing everything, right?
Yeah.
So, but when we look watching the film, we're thinking about, okay, so there's acting, and then there's these incredible stunt work and fight scenes that you've also come up with as well.
Set piece.
Yeah, big set pieces,
set piece.
all that stuff. So obviously that stuff doesn't happen overnight, right? So, and you said you went to acting school, but also what was your martial arts background?
So I started when I was 4 years old. I remember my first toy being nunchucks. And the reason was that my father actually studied Shaolin Wushu in China for 5 years, and he was the only one who got the red belt. And back in 70s, I think, around that time, so my dad brought Shaolin Wushu to Iran, and he has like millions of followers, and everybody knows him as Shifu Sohrab. And basically, the irony is like 50 years later, his son is bringing action cinema to Iran, which is fun to see the journey, how it goes. But I started when I was 4 or 5. My dad was my own Shifu who taught me all of the things, and I hated. I used to hate martial art till I was 15. And what changed, one day I just stood up to my dad and said, I don't know, no more 8-hour trainings, no more waking up 5 a.m. This is not Shaolin Temple, this is Finland, I need to chill. So what he did, he said, okay, you can stop doing martial art, but before that, you need to go to Shaolin Temple for a couple of months. Just that alone, the decision he made and the 2 months I spent in China, it just taught me so much about the discipline and about that I actually knew some moves, because if the monks were like, whoa, I was like, oh, okay, I might have something here. So when I went back to Finland, I was the one who told my dad that, hey, let's go to those 8-hour trainings and get this body ready.
Oh, so you're actually raised in Shaolin Kung Fu then, so.
Yeah, Shaolin Wushu, Shaolin Kung Fu was my kind of a base martial art, which I started with, and then transitioned, did a lot of, because as you saw in the film, there was a lot of techniques used. There was Jet Kundo in that very narrow, like oil changing spot, and then there was like some judo, jiu-jitsu, like a lot of stuff that I could use. I tried to make it, yeah.
Yeah, so, and then what made you decide to go into acting then?
Oh, I was doing martial art, then I was doing stunt, and of course they say if you want to do acting more, you need to go to school and whatnot. So I did that school part, and after spending all that money and years, I decided, or I saw that my passion is actually directing, because and I knew this because I already knew this film's gonna look like this 10 years ago. I didn't know how, I didn't have any clue what kind of tools to use, but I kind of had the vision, and then that brought me to like more towards the directing part of it.
Yeah, so I assume you were a fan of Hong Kong cinema then?
Oh yeah.
Because I think we can see quite a few obvious tributes in the film to Hong Kong cinema. So I assume your father raised you on those films as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We had all those VHS.
And then, so as a stunt guy, so you were doing martial arts, then you went into stunt.
Yeah, then went to the stunt, then went to the acting, and then as soon as I graduated, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go and act in my own movie. But then 10 years later, I'm directing my own movie. It's just like, yeah, if nobody does it, I'll do it.
Yeah, so were you doing stunts in Finland, or were you working?
Yeah, in Finland. I had like, I was teaching Kung Fu in Finland, and I had some students, and every time they did some action, Finland is not so much known of its action cinema. Nowadays it's coming up. So yeah, back then every time they needed some action guy, I was the guy.
Oh, I see. So you're Finland's go-to guy.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so we have your grounding, your youth as well.
Yeah.
Because I just think it's so fascinating that when we watch this film, there's so many things that come out of it for when we see all the things that you did for this movie as well. And obviously the outtakes is a very Hong Kong thing to do. So that was which is always amazing, I think. And do you want to talk about the film a little bit more?
Well, I just wanted to ask, does this mean this was your first time filming in Iran, or how did you make the transition to getting the film?
Yes, so basically I was born there, but I was raised my whole life in Finland. So I decided, okay, if I have a few $100,000, where could I shoot a movie with that money that doesn't look like a $200,000 movie? And I knew I have one job, because I financed the movie, I sold whatever I had and put everything in it. So I knew if I have one movie to make and showcase what I could do, that would possibly open doors for me to make bigger stuff. So kind of like a calling card. And I thought, okay, Iran sounds good because my dad was already there. My dad said, come here, make a movie here. And then, yeah, that was the decision. And it was a budget thing also because we shot in Finland for 2 days or 3 days. And that was equal to about 35 days shooting in Iraq. So it was that, the price difference was that.
Wow.
Yeah.
A huge difference.
Yeah.
And you mentioned earlier there were some difficulties with the government as well.
Oh yeah, government. Oh, they hated me. They were like, they actually arrested me saying that why are you taking so many like aerial from Tehran? What are you trying to show? I'm like, Iran. I'm trying to show the country. I'm like, this is nothing political, but. It was, okay, here's the thing. People have tried to make action films in Iran and they've failed in a way, in their eye. So they were very careful who give the permit to. And it took me 2 years to get my directing permit. And that's not the only one. You need the shooting permit, directing permit, script permit, then you need to permit to show the film. There's so many permits. At the third one, I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But anyways, I have to say, this is a very good news for the film, but 2 days ago, we got our, cinema license in Iran. So next Wednesday, so in 3 days, it will open up over 200 movie theaters in Iran. This film.
Amazing.
And I'm excited and nervous because I don't know how the public would react to it. Imagine 50 years you live in a country where not one action film has come in, and then suddenly there's this film that comes out. So it's a risky move, but it's something that I was like, okay, we'll do it, and whatever happens, happens. But at least I think martial artists, action film people, and all those young people, they deserve something else than just like heavy drama that you just get headache out of them. You need some fun. And if I can give that one kid in a village a fun time, 2 hours watching this, coming out and doing ha ha ha, I think that's like a blessing.
Yeah, no, amazing. It's amazing because when we think about how martial arts cinema has evolved in the last few years with films coming out from countries that we would never expect,
yes,
like Indonesia, Cambodia, Thailand back in the day, Vietnam, mostly in Asia, and then now Iran, like something coming out from Iran, it's so unexpected.
Yeah.
Game changing.
Yeah, as you say, like those countries generally tend to be grounded in quite drama, romance, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then you see something like this coming out. But I think, what I see with this film is, because I really want to talk about some of the work that went into designing those set pieces, the action set pieces.
Yeah.
Because the stunts are amazing, but then they're so creative as well. Like the jump off the tire is such a creative idea, which obviously you got injured quite badly doing.
Yeah.
That's your Jackie Chan moment, isn't it?
Yes, that's like Jackie Chan. Come on, everybody has those VHS Jackie Chan movies, and I believe it or not, I would love to bring that back. Like if we could bring that kind of action back to the cinema, where you actually use the environment as a weapon. It not only shows you as a creative fighter, but as a fun for audience to experience that. Because then every time that those characters are in a place where audience sees some stuff, they say, I can feel it. It's right there. So I love those movies, and that's why I try to bring it very subtly. See the tree there. Oh, okay, that's exactly the V we want, and then we go push through it. So yeah, using the environment.
So did a lot of it come up off the fly then? You just kind of went there and thought, okay.
Yeah. So okay, here's the thing. First of all, no stunt people in Iran. So all the stunt we did, all the fighting we did, I had 2 months time to train with martial artists. And you guys know, martial artists and stunt, there is a difference. And I know because I got hit by martial artists, people that really hit me hard. And I said, listen, I cannot get bruised. You cannot hit me. Stay far and we'll do it. So there was so much that happening, and a lot of time when we were trying to get those reactions working, we had to take so many takes. Even that one take with the rope, me going up and hitting, I think we took 28, 29 times just that take, to get it perfectly. And what I loved about them, although they didn't do stunts much, but they were so passionate. They said, hit me, again. I said, we got it, no, again. One more time. You can hit harder. I said, no, it's fine. But yeah, so no stunt people. And then all the actions, like for example, the scene where I come to the door, I say, open the door, and I hit the guy. To the whole going upstairs, fighting in the back, going to the pool, the guys coming in, then we go inside and all that. We took all of that in less than 8 hours. And the reason was we were supposed to be there 14 hours. That was the only day that I said we'll do over 12 hours. I always kept it 12 hours. I didn't want to like overuse the crew. So I said 12 hours. But that day I went and I said, guys, listen, today is the 14-hour day. And I knew if I can push through, the crew will push through. So I couldn't go, even if I wanted to, I couldn't go like, I had to be like, then go to the room and go, oh my God, I'm dying. This is hell. So then I just had to show them that if I can do it, you guys can do it, let's do it. So we get to this place and the electricity of whole that street goes away for 4 or 5 hours. We don't have money to come back again. We cannot shoot in daytime. We have to get it on, and I'm sitting there praying like, give me, let there be light, let there be light. And finally, after 4 or 5 hours, we got the light, and I remember my DOP say, Ramin, we cannot get all of that. I say, you just press that record and watch me. And then we started going bit by bit, and in the end, we got a little bit that light coming, but we closed the blind a little bit and color corrected so it looks still like a night, but we got all of that. So there was no time for like set designing a lot or like practicing all the movements to go exactly as it is, because a lot of surprises happen. Even in the end with that bald guy where that guy shoots him in the leg, we had to shoot him because the night before he fell from the stairs and couldn't walk, so he actually had the stick. And I'm like, okay, we need to shoot in 2 hours. Okay, give me the script. Okay, so you take the gun, pop, pop, pop. So everything had to happen like this because the whole country operates like that. Everything happens so fast, and like even when you're shooting and then you have a plan to do this, but suddenly you're like, nope, we cannot shoot here because this building is owned by this guy and he doesn't want us. We have a permit. Nobody cares about the permit. Get out. So then, yeah, so things change a lot, and there wasn't unfortunately a lot of time to shoot everything. And everything you saw, the 90-minute film, was shot toward 5 years, and 5 times we stop and start again, stop and start again. There was the leg, there was the COVID, there was the actor getting pregnant, there was so many stuff. So 5 times stop, go, stop, go, stop, go.
Wow.
You would not know.
Yeah, and the last time it was the COVID time, and I say, if I don't make the film now, I just can't. I cannot afford the time, the money, and any of that. So we go back, everything is ready, we shoot for 5 days, and the fight scene in the alley with me and the motorcycle guy, that was the day we actually had COVID and we didn't know it. So I was fighting, then we got so tired, we came home, and that motorcycle guy is actually my AD. He was my assistant director. He has been my student for like 15 years in Finland, so he was doing a lot of the fightings with me. So we came home and he was like, Shifu, are you okay from today's fight? I said, no, I'm hurt everywhere. What's going on? So we took the test, and then we were hospitalized that same night, and I was there for 2 weeks in hospital, and we had to stop for like 1 month and then go again. And blah, blah, blah.
So yeah, I told you guys he put his life on the line.
Yeah. No, I was in the hospital actually working on the script, because the whole end scene where the SUVs come to that end fighting building, we were supposed to shoot that in like 13, 14 days because there was a lot of things happening in different levels and a lot of dialogues, action, and blah, blah, blah. So I knew as soon as we got the COVID that our money is done, the hospital bills and everything, we cannot shoot that. So I was trying to figure out how can I take some scenes out or how can I organize so I can shoot that in less time. And the doctors were actually coming in and saying, do you understand if you don't stop working? And I had all these breathing stuff on my nose and everything. And they say, if you don't stop, you're gonna die. You have to stop. So they tried to take the script from me. It was funny. I was fighting back. No, I'd rather die than not make this movie. So you leave me alone. Let me work on my scene. I don't care. Throw me out. So I was working, which then they figured it out. They actually put the sleeping medicine in my IV. And they go to the, in the morning I wake up, I was like, who put me on a sleep? And we shot the whole last 30 minutes of the movie in 6 days. Yeah.
Wow. That's the thing, because normally you shoot action, you have to plan so much.
Yes, definitely.
Like so much, you know.
Can I just ask, I wanted to go back to the alley fight, because that's such an impressive fight, and it's also the fact that we wait so long for that in the film, and it's where the action really kicks off, and you've got that intrigue as it leads into it. Did you say that you didn't, in the absence of stuntmen, did you double at all for other people, or how did you cope with that? You know, because your student is hit by the car at the end, and it's an incredible shot.
Yes, so basically the only stunts I didn't do, there was 2 stunts I didn't do, and there was a reason for that. It was the car hit, that one I didn't do myself, and there was the one where somebody jumps to the pool. So the car thing I didn't do because my producer from Finland, Jonna Enrud, say if you do that and something happens to you, we don't have a movie, so you need to let somebody else do it. And I was like, but I really want to. And he said, no, you're not gonna do it. So we got Ali Reza from Germany, who flew in to Iran and did that one. So, and we only had one shot because we didn't have money to replace the window or car or anything. So he did it with one take, and I was like, good? I said, good. Perfect, yeah. And the second was like, honestly, I couldn't get wet yet because we had scenes in the back, and there was a lot of logistical stuff, so somebody else just jumped in. Like, I want to do it. No, I want to do it. Everybody was like, I want to do it.
So how big was your team? Your main
stunt team, like 10, 12. I rotate them a lot. Like even my AD, he fights in the alley, he fights in the end, he fights in the middle, in the nightclub. Like there's so many fights he comes in. But yeah, I had to rotate them a lot. But like 10 to 12.
And were you in the rooftop scene with the fight where the guys pulled through the tree?
Yeah.
There's a lot of handheld shooting there. Were you behind the camera as well at times? Did you?
I was at some, because we had 2 cameras. Sometimes I jumped to our second camera. So with Mark Hobson, we did some shots, but mostly I just wanted to have like different style of shooting. And this film, which is so amazing, like has won over, I think 15, 18 cinematography awards, like around the world. In Australia, we won the Australia Cinematographer Society prize and all of that. So we try to do different styles for different fights and so on. But yeah.
And the soundtrack as well is part of it.
Yes,
the tension is held by the music.
Yes.
It's incredible.
We had Greg Dombrisky who composed the whole music, and I found him in YouTube. And when I told him my vision that I want to mix some Middle Eastern elements to Western and have these strings and all of that, so he immediately got it. And we have actually the soundtrack of the movie coming out next week in Spotify and all those places. But yeah, music was a big part of it, and we actually recorded like Persian instruments and singers, vocalists to come in and make the soundtrack work.
Fantastic. Can I ask you about the writing? Because you said earlier you needed the permission. Your script had to be checked out. Was there anything that you knew you couldn't have in the film, or as it's now being released, was there any changes that have been made, or was any censorship issue? Or
well, yes, a lot of censorship issues. Even like it's so a big thing that to have a Western woman in a Muslim country kicking the hell out of some men, they don't like it at all. And you are trying to figure out how can I put that, because I didn't want to have a female character which just a guy goes and saves and comes. They need to fight together. They need to fight together to get out of there. And I was thinking, and they say no, in a Muslim country, like a woman cannot touch a man, a skin cannot touch a skin. So I thought about the wrap. I say, what if I wrap the hand? Technically, it's not touching. They couldn't say no. So which was like, I was like, oh my God, that went through. So yeah, we had to be very creative with that process. And it had 22 versions script, 22 versions. I wanted that cop to be crooked. They said, no, we don't have crooked cops. I wanted different characters. I really wanted different characters, but it was very hard.
Sorry, I like that you keep the audience guessing. You don't. You're constantly thinking, is this guy going to betray? Is there someone else? And it works really well.
That was the only thing I could play with, because it's very hard when you have a place that restricts what you shoot, what you don't shoot. And even now that it's coming to theaters, like even today I got this message that we need to delete that one part where the girl is too close to the guy. And I'm like, oh my God. They're watching frame by frame. That's why I'm like very nervous and excited at the same time. When the public gets to see this, then I'm like, because we showed this film in the Iranian Film Festival in like last year, and the critics hated this movie, like really hated it. They said, why did you show Iran as a hell? I said, what? Or like, why there was Wolff sound in your movie? I said, what? Like, what are you saying, guys? And there was 600 people, 600 reporters. The video is still in YouTube. And the last question, which was the best, was like, it seemed that you hired somebody to direct and do all the stunts. Have you credited that person in your film? I'm like, you see, it's me, right? Do you have WhatsApp? I can send you the behind the scene material. So it was just so ridiculous that how afraid they were of me bringing something new to their cinema. All the filmmakers, oh, they hated me. They were like, how can you make a movie with few $100,000 and we are here making films for $1 million and it doesn't look anything like yours? What are you doing different that we have been doing here for decades? So I understand their frustration, but boy, I have been waiting for a day that public gets to see it. Those young kids, those martial artists, like that has been the moment I've been waiting for a decade. Now is my time to show the people, like, hey, there's other stuff you can do and show, and storytelling doesn't have to always be told in drama films or in like those type of films. You can also show it in action. Yeah.
And I've spoken to a few people from Iran and they always seem to be martial arts fans anyway.
Oh.
They're inspired by Bruce Lee or Van Damme or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if I told you like the fans my dad has in Iran, like they are true fans. I remember when I was 4 or 5 and I was making shows around Iran, they called me Bruce Lee kid back then. Like I had the stadiums full, like 60, 80,000 people to come and watch my dad and our crew make martial arts shows, like different type of shows. And I remember like it was like, it was very different back then, but it was very hard because there wasn't any action, anything like that. It was just like people didn't have that. And because Iran has so much martial artists, I think 3 million martial artists, and not one action film. They should have an action film, but no. So I'm very eager to wait and see what happens. So it's a hit or a miss, but
well, I think we can all agree here the film is a triumph regardless of what happens. I think it's an amazing achievement, and I think there's some filmmakers here who should be very inspired by your story.
Oh, thank you.
And yeah, it is interesting because you talk about having to do so much on the fly, and that's really how you learn to make films, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because anyone who's made films regularly will tell you it's never easy. And actually, when you don't have options, that's sometimes when you do your best work, because you just think you're just so focused on getting it out, doing it quick, doing it proper, and just like doing a good job, because you just have no time, right? So you get really focused in a way.
No, it's very easier to become creative when you don't have choices. But when you have so many choices, you're not that creative. You just go with the flow or easiest or whatever it is. But when you're put in a spot, for example, 3 days before we started shooting in Iran around the COVID, I was arrested. So three days before, and it was such a weird experience for me because they took me to the police station. I didn't know I was arrested until I was trying to walk out. There were these people with gun, like holding me, like, hey, where are you going? You're arrested. Get back there. We haven't put you inside because you're still in processing. I'm like, what are you saying? So they put me in a cell, and my bail is $80,000 3 days before shooting. And I'm like, oh my God, like what? Like either somebody up there doesn't want me to make this, or he's testing me. And I'm like, no, you're testing me. So what I did, I had the phone call. I called the Finnish ambassador who came and saved me. And 3 days later, I was on a set. And what I'm saying, the creativity maybe wasn't me doing something, but the creativity was me in my mind being already outside of there. Being like, I would say manifesting in a way. Like I was already outside. I was thinking of my first day of shooting, although it didn't look I was gonna be there, but I was in my mind there. And sure enough, 3 days later, I was there, and we started filming of the project. Yeah.
Amazing. I think it's time we open up for some questions. So does anyone want to ask a few questions? All right, we've got a couple here, so let's go with Ramon first.
Hi Ramin, congratulations on the film, that was fantastic, really enjoyed that. I've got to ask you though, it's not a martial arts related question. I was well not literally, but I was blown away by the opening scene, the house on fire. I would say the quality is almost akin to a film like Backdraft, which is very sort of, very much focused on that. With the limited resources that you had, how did you pull off such an incredible opening fire sequence?
Okay, so one thing that I learned making this film is how to get people be excited, not only do something for me, but be excited to do something for me. So the first day I went and asked the Tehran Fire Department that can we use some of your trucks and clothes and people. There was this mad Iranian guy. They're usually mad. The people, they come like, what? No. They are working. What is this film? No. We are not going to do that. And my good luck, a year before that, there was a first firefighting movie that came in Iran. I'm not going to say the name of the movie, but anyways, they hated it. So they thought I'm going to make the same movie. So of course they were like, no, we're never going to do a firefighter movie again. It was a disaster. Everybody laughed at us, blah, blah, blah. Then I was like, okay, we're not going to get that. Okay. I had a friend who knew a firefighter, so I took the one jacket and I shot a scene in the dark, like did a proof of concept kind of a thing. So I met the guy, the chief firefighter, and I told him, can I talk to you for a while? And I told him, I said, sorry, do you have kids? And he was like, yeah, I have one son and one daughter. How old are they? They're like 12 and 15. I say, okay, I'm making this film for them. And if you let me, I'm gonna make you a hero in my movie. So when your kids watch this movie, they're gonna tell their friends that my dad is a firefighter. And here is what I shot with one firefighter thing. He saw that 60-second clip, and he looked at me and said, what do you need? I said, I need 4 trucks, I need 10 people, and I know it's pushing it, but do you know any place I could place on fire? and then he said, like, let me make some calls. Then he calls me a couple hours later. We got this training facility 1 hour from Tehran. I already talked with this and that and that and that. The whole building is yours. Make it on fire. Do whatever you want. And every day when I shot those stuff, every day I went to him and said, this is what we are getting. And he said, what else do you need? Burn whatever you need. Let's burn all Tehran. But yeah, it was finding people's passion. Like, I cannot go to a person and say, do this for me. I need to first know what he wants, what is his passion, what is his, and for him, lucky for me, he had kids. And dads love their kid, and they want their kid